Our next presenter is Alex Reed, Associate Professor of Music Theory, History, and Composition.
Thank you. How does that screen look? Nice and official, doesn't it? I suppose I could stand like this and be very imposing when I give my talk. But now you can imagine me sitting in a wingback chair, pontificating, smoking a pipe, being very dapper. Right? And now I'm your third grade teacher. You see how much you already know about the tone and the body language of my talk just through these visual aesthetics. You're tapping into a whole category of knowledge that extends beyond the curricular learning. I want to talk about how we can recognize and make use of that knowledge. Now, I'm a music professor. Do we have any musicians here? A few of us, good. I've put a really simple rhythm up here. I'm going to treat you like I treat my first-year students. Could we just try clapping this out? I'm going to count us off. Ready? 1, 2, 3, and. Good. That was great. Let's try another one. Ready? 1, 2, 3, and. I knew that would go badly, right? Here's the thing, even if you're not a musician, I bet you can do this, right? Just listen and clap back. Go. Easy, right? Much easier to do it with your ears and your body than with your eyes and your brain. Let's do one more. This time we'll do it all together. And. Bum, bum, bum. Let's do it again. And bum, 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 bum. One more time. Bum, 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 bum. Good. That one feels good. You can kind of get into this, right? Now, what I'm interested in talking about today is the fact that we know more than we think. Each of us has a private, but in many ways shared understanding of what it feels like to be in the world. When we're learning, we're not just gaining new skills and new knowledges, but we're also unearthing and naming and systematizing knowledge that we already possess, but we might not really know about. In my teaching, I try to give students the permission to draw on this knowledge. Let's do this one more time. And if you can imagine these pieces of music that you've heard before over this, it goes like this, right? So it goes, feet don't fail me now, said feet don't fail me now. Or oops, upside your head, oops, upside your head. Or what you hear is not a test, I'm rapping to the beat. And me, the groove, and my friends are gonna try to move your feet. Said uptown, funk you up, said uptown, funk you up. You get the idea? Stacked onto this rhythm are all the previous ways that we've heard this before, and they really inform how we think about it now. If we can give voice to these understandings, then we can understand the signs in the world around us much better. I call this full contact aesthetics. So for the last 4 years at Ithaca College, I've taught a course on punk music. And there's this one famous punk song. It's called Anarchy in the UK. It's by the Sex Pistols. And I'm always fascinated by the chorus of it. Here's what it sounds like. I wanna get it, I wanna destroy, possibly, 'cause I wanna be anarchy. I'm really interested in what the guitar and the harmonies are doing right there. I'm going to sing this really, really calmly, okay? Now, here's what the Beatles would have done if they had played this song. They would have gone, 'cause I wanna be anarchy. But here's what the Sex Pistols do. 'Cause I wanna be anarchy. What does this have to do with knowing more than we think? Well, even if you don't play an instrument, take a look at my left hand, look at the physical difference. Here's the Beatles way. It's using all these different positions to tap into a cerebral understanding of harmony, where some chords fit better into certain keys, where they like to follow each other in certain ways. Here's what the Sex Pistols are doing. Doesn't work like the Beatles, right? What it's saying is something much more muscular. It's saying, I hear the melody going down, so I'm going to go down too. It's saying, this unchanging fist that I'm strangling the neck of my guitar with matters much more than any do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do nonsense. The whole posture of the song is one without nuance, and that's something that you can kind of hear in the vocal as well, right? I mean, the lyric, I want to be anarchy, that's not even a thing, right? Any English teacher will tell you that's wrong. The actual mouth position of Johnny Rotten as he sings this, it's like a snarling dog. It's open and it's tense all at the same time. His whole body is an odd combination of slackness and tension. So when we try this on with our own bodies, that's one way of tapping into this full contact aesthetics. It's a way that we can understand the world around us better. And why does this matter? Well, even if it doesn't change our understanding of punk, it acts as an attitudinal check to our curricular knowledge. I want to try out one more media text here as a kind of analysis here. And this is what we do in my class all the time. My students do this in a lot of my classes. With open eyes, open ears, and open body, maybe we can get a sense of the water that we as fish are swimming in. Right? I use this metaphor all the time. Now, I could have used anything. Hold on, there we go. But I remembered this graphic and this sound from about 14 years ago. I saw this on TV all the time. Just like with our clapping, there was a history of association that we had with those rhythms. The same thing is going on here, for instance. Like the word showdown, if you look it up in the Oxford English Dictionary, its first definition has to do with poker. Maybe that's one reason why one YouTube commenter thought that this reminded him of a game. At the beginning of this talk, we were looking at different fonts, typefaces. This one is called Bookman Antique. A 1924 advertising manual says that it is simple, masculine, leaves the impression of reliability without heaviness. What about the music? Well, darned if I don't hear this drum beat ripping off Led Zeppelin. There's this song called When the Levee Breaks. It's really, really well known, actually, for its drum beat. It's been sampled in over 200 pieces of pop music and hip-hop. It's kind of cultural shorthand now for a pleasurable invincibility. You'll recognize it. What about the rest of the music? Well, I hear crystalline timbres, I hear minor keys, I hear arpeggiation. It really seems a lot to me like this piece called Tubular Bells that shows up on the soundtrack to The Exorcist. Listen. Let's put them together and compare. And here's CNN. Okay, now CNN could have done something else, right? They could have done this. Obviously, I'm exaggerating here. I don't mean to make light of this, right? My main point is that they could have signified education. They could have signified compassion. But instead, they decided to go with masculinity, competition, simplicity, holiness, warfare, right? They decided to go with all that. And so we can ask ourselves, who benefits from this? What kinds of bodies and minds are privileged by that choice? How did that affect me 14 years ago as a young person when I saw it? How are choices like this affecting our students now every day? If we can start to see the world around us as not just the way things are, but a series of conscious choices, then we can interpret it as arguments, aesthetic arguments for whole ways to be. We can choose to accept those arguments, or reject them, or build on them, or play with them. It's not so much about what the words say as it is how they say them. It's about the camera angle, the costume choices, the color scheme, the fonts. It's about all the stuff that's communicating to us in ways that we might not realize it's communicating all the time. This is what we do in my classrooms here at IC. It's about the water that we're swimming in as fish. This is why the stakes are so high for recognizing and really probing the fact that we know more than we think we do. Thank you.